Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be doing my No Pan Left Behind update. I do have, if I just counted, 13 or 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 palettes to roll out, and I'm still working on 3 other palettes. So if you want to know where I'm at, what palettes I used up, and what I'm still working on, and also the refresh of the new palettes I'll be working on, definitely continue watching. Also, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and let's just go ahead and jump right in. So again, I do have, I keep forgetting, 13 palettes, I believe. I just said it. That I finished off 2. I finished off today because I did use one for the gold and another one for the teal color, so that's good. Let's back it up a little bit. So the purpose of this project is No Pan Left Behind is pretty much using all my eyeshadows, each pan in each palette at least once, and kind of rotate my collection this way and get some use out of it. I know there's times in the year where I don't reach for a palette or don't use it enough, and or don't really reach for all of the shades that are in the palette. So this is my goal to pretty much no pan left behind any palette. I have 146. I do want to do a declutter. Doing this project has really made me realize, and I kind of already knew, but having to use color every single day is kind of like, oh my gosh, did you really need colorful eyeshadow palettes every time you bought some? And I do have a few looks that I did take pictures of, but a lot of the times you'll notice that a lot of the color stories that are in this time around are pretty similar, so a lot of my looks looked pretty similar. When I remember to take a picture, I did, and I'll insert it where it coincides with the palette. But back to my Natasha Denona Yucca palette. There are a few shades I used twice, so it was this one, and the dark brown. And here are all the shades. Very beautiful palette. I did find that, I don't know, I thought I was going to be more impressed with this palette than I was. But overall, I do like the looks that I created. And again, this one is the teal that I did use today on my outer corner. I did use a little bit of the black in another palette that's still in this rotation. But overall, I do like this palette. I felt like I wasn't like mind-blowing like I thought I would be with this color story, but it might just be that I'm kind of not overwhelmed, but I feel like I'm not really going to be using these kinds of, I don't want to use these, do these kinds of looks for work. So I'm kind of like not super excited for color at the moment, but I know I do like color. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like I'm kind of like in a place where I'm like, I don't want to wear colorful eyeshadows every single day. So that's why I've been kind of more on the neutral, everyday kind of shades. Yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at. Next palette that I finished off is my, or used every shade in the palette, is my Pat McGrath Mothership Mega Celestial Odyssey. And this one I had a few shades that I also used twice. So I used the dark brown twice. And it looks like I also used this brown crease color twice as well. Everything else was used once. And the gold is from this palette as well. It's this one right there. I'm not a big fan of gold. I don't know if you guys are as well. Or maybe it's that color of gold because it's like really like a yellow gold. Super pigmented, really, really nice palette. I wish this palette had more matte shades, but overall it's a really good pigmented palette. Another palette that I finally used up, this one has been in a couple rotations, is my Melt Cosmetics Muerte palette. And as you can see, it's definitely grungy, colorful, more on the colorful side as well. This one looks like every shade was only used once. This one took me a couple months to finish off. I created this like tealy look and it was really cool and I did like it. I just felt like, again, like I've been using a lot of color and I have a lot of color. It's probably why I kind of want to do a declutter in my collection. And just kind of go through everything. I usually only do it like once a year at the end of the year, but I feel like I need to do like at least 2 a year and kind of go through my stuff and make sure everything that's in my collection is what I want and want to keep using. Another palette that's getting rolled out is my Give Me Glow Vivid Rose. Mine looks a little bit different. This is how I bought mine on Poshmark or Mercari. I don't remember where I got it, but there's a few colors that don't belong in here. Mostly, I think this one and that one. I'm not sure what the original really palette looks like, but this was beautiful. I really enjoyed the purpley looks I created using this palette, and overall I really enjoyed it. This is a very pigmented formula as well. Very, very nice again. Yeah, just working my way through my palettes. Another stack here that I have done. The first one is my Naked by Urban Decay. This is the Naked Foxy. And this one here was pretty easy to use up a couple looks, and I no pan left behind this one. And it's actually a really good palette. I was like, definitely can travel with this palette. So every day when I pretty much travel, I don't really do super extravagant looks or anything, but this one's actually a really good formula. And again, I really enjoyed just neutral colors. So that one worked out really well. Another one that I no pan left behind was my Kaleidos Futurism 7 Sashimi City palette. And this one looks a little bit different as well. What did I change? I added this one and a dark brown because I don't think this one really had like deepening shades, and those two are from the bronze 6-pan palette. I don't remember what it's called, but that's why mine looks a little bit different. So I kind of customized it a little bit, but overall beautiful. I love the mattes, and the shimmers are super beautiful in this palette. So that one is done. And then another one that I used up is my Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 2 palette. This one here is more of the berry tone shades. I felt like I wasn't like super impressed with the formula. I'm not sure if it's going bad or anything. I know a lot of people, their palettes are getting moldy, and I don't know, I just felt like I wasn't overly impressed with the shimmers. They just felt, I don't know, they're okay. Again, they worked, they did the job, but I don't know, I feel like I wasn't like overly hyped about this palette. And for the first time ever, actually, I actually used the cream shades in this palette, and I really enjoyed them. They were really good bases. I thought about using them as liners, but since that was the first time I've ever tried them, and I've had this palette for a bit, and the first time actually using the creams, I was pretty impressed. Again, I just used them as bases and they worked really well. Another one that's kind of like a berry toned palette, neutral, is by Natasha Denona. This is a Cupid palette, and this one was another one that was pretty easy to use up, a couple looks, and it was pretty much done. And overly, it's nice and pigmented. I really enjoy the Natasha Denona formula, and this is a perfect like travel palette for me as well, so I really enjoyed that one. 5 more palettes to go that I used up. Next up is my Sugar Pill Fun Size palette. This one was fun. I created a beautiful, was it purple and green or blue and purple? I think I used these two shades together. This one I also only used once each shade. Like on the weekends or when I have to film is when I'm doing the colorful looks, because I don't want to wear stuff like this to work. But overall, I really enjoyed this palette, and it was really nice and pigmented, and it did the job for what I was wanting to create. Next up, oh, this one has been in here for a few rounds as well. This is the Dragon Fruit palette by Cleona and Emily Violet Marie. This one, the packaging was annoying until it actually finally broke. Like, oh wow, now it's really broken. It's kind of annoying, but this one doesn't look like I used any shade twice. Every shade was used once. Very beautiful formula. This is the only Cleona shadows I have. They're actually kind of pricey as single shadows, but I was glad to pick up this palette. The packaging sucks, as you can see there, but the shadows are beautiful, shimmery, sparkly, really, really nice. They don't crease on me or anything like that. They're actually really beautiful. And yeah, kind of sucks that my palette's broken now, but I think a lot of people's palettes is broken as well. This packaging is not good at all. Next up is my Huda Beauty Naughty Nude palette, another burgundy neutral tone palette. It looks like only one shade was used twice, which was actually this topper kind of gold shade right there. And it looks like this. This is a very pigmented, beautiful formula. I really like the Huda Beauty formula. It's really, really good. And yeah, again, I really enjoyed this, and I created really nice everyday looks for this with this palette and really enjoyed it. Actually, this is kind of like a whatever. It was more like a glossy kind of topper thing. I was just like, okay, what is this supposed to do? I have seen people in their like eyeshadow palette collection videos that they just like scrape it out. I don't know if it's something that I would like reach for again, but I don't mind it just being there. Burgundies and these kinds of tones are more of my like everyday kind of shades, so I actually really enjoyed this palette. 2 more palettes to go. Next up is my Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. I don't think this was rolled in from the last update. I put this in last minute just because, again, I have so much color that, well, I felt like I was using so much color, but I felt like it's like a mix, right? That I just needed nudes, so I ended up just throwing this in and creating like really natural, beautiful, everyday looks with this palette. Again, appropriate for work. So this one is all done and no pan left behind. I'll have to double check if it was on my list. I believe this was not. Like, I just reached for this on the side. Another one that I used up is my Blend Bunny Cosmetics All Done Up palette. This one's really good. I really enjoyed this one as well. I pretty much created a look per row. So what, there was like 5 looks at least created with this palette. And it looks like this shade I used twice right there. Everything else was only used once. And again, I really enjoyed this palette, really, really nice. Also kind of everyday-ish as well, just with a little bit of color. The shimmers are ultra pigmented. I went a little light-handed just because I just wanted a light wash of shimmer. I didn't really apply it opaquely onto the lids, but overall this one's a really, really nice palette. So the last 2 palettes that are remaining in this round is my Indigo Ink, which I actually only have like 4 shades to use. But since I wanted to roll out the other 2 palettes, that's why I used the teal, because that was the only one left in the palette to get it rolled out, in the gold. So that's why I just did this look. But this one, I have the Indigo Ink by Menagerie. I only need to use this blue right here and this row down here, and I will be done. So this one for sure will get rolled out in the next update. But this one's like my favorite Menagerie palette. They have like duochromes. I didn't even tell, like this top one right here, you can see green and purple. It's so beautiful. This one is the same, and these 3 are pretty much duochrome shades. Just a beautiful palette, very pigmented and really, really nice. So I really been enjoying this one. And then the last palette that was rolled in from the last update is my Cosmic Brushes Serenity palette. And this one, I've only used 3 shades out of this palette, which was the brown. I actually applied this green over here as well. And then I used the purple also. And that is all that I've used in this palette so far. Hoping, again, to get this rolled out in the next update. We will see, because there is a ton of color in here. Yeah, Cosmic Brushes has really good formula as well. So yeah, these are the only 2 palettes that were rolled in from the last update, but I did pull this in a few days ago, again, just because I don't want any color. I wanted something more toned down. So I reached for my Natasha Denona My Dream palette, and I have used every shade in the top row besides this one, the middle one, and I used this one as well. Everything else has not been touched, so this one is a nice one as well. I remember when I got this, I was like, this is like my dream palette as well. Like my color story, very beautiful. This is a duochrome. You see pink, but I wonder if you can see the green. It's like, it has a green shift to it as well. You can probably see it there. It's really, really nice. A very beautiful formula. I really enjoy Natasha Denona formula, but these are the only 3 palettes left. I usually do the spin the wheel app and just do random palettes. So I'm gonna do 12 total, I think, and I'm gonna pick myself 2 or 3 palettes myself. So let me get my phone so I can do the wheel app and start picking some palettes to have for the next month or so. So I was just going through my list of palettes, and I believe when I started I had 146 palettes, and right now I am at 40 palettes that I've used, and we're in July already. How the heck am I gonna go through 100 palettes more? Again, I do plan on doing a declutter, so we will see how many I get rid of. But I'm gonna roll in 10 palettes. Since I rolled out 13 last time and I have 3, I'm just gonna roll in 10 more and have 13 total, and as I keep using up stuff, then I'll just do it on the side and pick palettes to use. So we have my spin the wheel app, and we're gonna go ahead and get started, and I'm going to write down everything I end up getting. So Glam Light, Chucky, Crazy, and Love. Wow. Okay. A dark, did I have that already? I'm not sure. Glam Light, I don't think so. Okay. So let me write it down. Next up is Charlotte Tilbury Smoky Eyes. Ooh, I was thinking about this one, so that's good. Charlotte Tilbury Smoky Eyes. I think I only have one Charlotte Tilbury palette, so. Next up, I forgot to push hide slice, dang it. Mario Ethereal Eyes. I think this one was already done. Let's see, Mario, where are you at? Mario Master Mats. Mario Ethereal Eyes. Okay, doesn't look like I've used it yet. So Mario Ethereal Eyes. I don't have it written down, so I guess not. Ace Beauty Tropical Vibes. Well, that one is like a yucca palette, so I get it back into my rotation color story wise. Natasha Denona Blue Purple. That one was in the first rotation, so we're gonna redraw. I keep forgetting to click add slice or hide slice. Sonic Bloom, this was just in. Sigma Cinderella. Il Maquillage times Kathleen Lights. Let me double check that. It's funny how I feel like I've used some of these palettes already and they're not even on the list. Lime Crime, it says like crime. My Lime Crime Greatest. That one's kind of like a kind of an all over the place palette, but it has a lot of light shades, so it might be good. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I have 3 more to pick on my own, and then I'll show you guys the palettes and what they look like. Okay, I'm back. So the 3 palettes that I'm still working on, again, is my Natasha Denona My Dream palette. Beautiful palette. The next one is my Menagerie Indigo Ink palette, which I only have 4 shades left in this one, so this one should definitely be done by the next update. And then lastly, Cosmic Brushes Serenity, right here. Hopefully this one is done as well. I have a few more color coming in, but it's not as vibrant, I think. And I have a mix of everyday colors. So the first one is the by Mario Ethereal Eyes. I was pretty sure I have no pan left behind this, but I guess I haven't. So this one is adding to this round. Next up is my Charlotte Tilbury Smoky Eyes Are Forever palette. This one I was eyeing the other day, so I'm kind of glad that it was rolled in. It looks like this. Perfect everyday wear appropriate. Shadows, another one is my Il Maquillage times Kathleen Lights. This one is pretty good, but for the price, it was like $80, I think, something like that when I first came out, and I was like, that's expensive. But this is how I decorated mine. It came with stickers, and you can pick which sticker bundle you wanted. So this is how I decorated mine, but this is what the inside looks like. Again, another everyday kind of shades. So this one will be good. Hopefully I don't get too tired of everyday shades, right? Next up is my Ace Beauty Tropical Vibes. Again, another kind of yucca type of palette. Greens, so I'll have some green looks this time around. Next up is my Cinderella and collab with Sigma, which is a beautiful jewel tone palette there. Pretty pigmented. I do have kind of trouble with the purples in this palette. I feel like they're more on the drier side, but overall really beautiful palette. Next up, that was from my Wheel app, is my Lime Crime Greatest Hits Bangers palette. And this one looks like this. I think this is pretty. It'll be good for the summertime right now. getting excited, like getting some juices flowing. I'm excited for the palettes that I'm getting for this time around. This one's a little on the crazier side, darker eyeshadow looks. Maybe I'll create a lot of smoky liners maybe. So this is the Chucky Glam Light Crazy and Love palette. This one's pretty cool packaging. This is the only like horror type of palette that I picked up. And this one's more of, again, a smokier kind of palette there. It doesn't look like I've used all of the shades in here. Oh my gosh, it looks like pretty much new. How many shades have I used? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like 5 shades in this palette. Okay, and that's why we're no panning left behind, right? Is that it? Okay, and so now the 3 palettes that I picked on my own. The first one is my Ensley Rain Cold Moon palette. This is the first Ensley Rain palette I have in my collection. This was gifted to me for my birthday from my friend Rania. And yeah, my birthday hasn't passed yet. It's not until July 27th, but we actually bought each other our birthday presents during Memorial Day weekend because Ensley Rain had a sale. I think it was like 20 or 25% off. So we got each other our birthday gifts early. This is what this one looks like. And just now, I was like, oh my gosh, it looks like pinky, but in person it looks green. Like, I have not even swatched. I think I swatched a couple of the shades, but this is beautiful. I'm looking forward to trying this out. I heard such great things about Ensley Rain, and this color story is so nice, so definitely excited to use that. I also hauled this a while ago and have yet to use it just because I haven't used it. So this is the ColourPop Twilight palette. Super late to pick this up myself. It was sold out for the longest time, and now, like, what, 4th of July weekend, they had 30% off site-wide. You can get this on sale if this goes up before the sale's over, but cool tones, so I'm excited to finally use this. And then lastly, the other one that I picked up, maybe I should have waited for, like, Halloween for this, but I like the color story, so I'm rolling in it this time around. But this is the Lunar Beauty Moonspell palette. I love the packaging. It looks like a book. It's super cool. And then the inside is purples and nudes and like teal kind of shades. So nothing too crazy, but I don't know. I saw the purples and I was like, okay, that looks pretty nice. And I'm feeling purple right now, even though it has teals too. But this is the last palette that's getting rolled in, so those are all of the palettes that I'll be working on in the next month or so. And yeah, I am ready for some new color stories to use on my eyeballs and go from there. So let me know if you're doing a No Pan Left Behind as well, or any projects. I would love to check them out. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!